Well, working on the old duck coop again. Well, the new duck coop, I should say. It's finally warmed up enough and enough snow melted that I could get back to it. And I just finished my nesting boxes on this wall. This should be the front view here. It's starting to sprinkle a bit now. This might be the end of the day for this project. But you can see I chopped out some low spots in that board on the front to make it easier to get in. And it's been kind of tricky to fit this in here, the way that this row of nest boxes fits into the framing of this wall. You could see where I had to cut out there on the bottoms of all these boards to fit over that 2x4, and it all kind of fits under this 2x4. So I tacked those nest boxes in there just to hold them in with some screws so I can get them out of there easy enough. But the trouble is, now that they're in there and I've got that wall set back on there, you can see the wall is leaning back quite a bit. So evidently what the problem is the bottom of these boxes is too long. So either I could just go attaching things and try to force and bend it all into shape. I don't know if that's going to work. Probably going to have to try to trim those somehow. Well, the only fix for it was to bang this piece off of the front and fix these boards. I don't know how these came out so bad. Thought I was measuring real careful, but you can see I've got this whole wall laid out flat on here, and checking it with a level, I've got my lines marked there. This was the worst one, but I don't know how I was off by that much. But I'll have to fix that. It could just be with all the warp in these boards that this whole nest box assembly is tipped forward. Whatever the problem was, I'll have to trim those off by hand, which won't be fun, but my handy Japanese pole saw will make relatively short work of it. This is pretty handy. I like this quite a bit. I got this I got the saw I should say, at a yard sale for $2, which I thought was a great deal. Although the blade that was on it was pretty well whooped, had teeth broken off, and it was pretty dull, so I had to buy a new blade. And the handle that I got at the yard sale with the crap blade on it, what the hell was I saying? I confused myself there. Anyways, I had to buy a new blade, and the blade was like $21, and the whole brand new saw, blade and handle, was only like $2 more. So basically, I really didn't save any money at all buying this thing at the yard sale. I got a used handle for $2 when I could have basically got a brand new handle for $2 more than what I paid for the blade. But anyways, I like this saw quite a bit. Cuts real fast, and in theory can be really precise. I sometimes struggle with the precision part, as you can perhaps tell from my construction pursuits, but it does work pretty good. And there we go. It's fitting. You can see it's flush on the floor there. Although the wall is square, Although you can see the top of that nest box is kind of slanted forward a bit now. And apparently what happened when I put that together, those cutouts on the bottom of the divider boards of the boxes, when I cut them, I just made them slightly oversized because I knew it was going to be tricky to fit, so I figured screw it, make them big, make sure they fit. But then when I had all of this rotated over sideways and laid the boxes in there onto the wall framing, the oversized notches in there let it kind of tip forward, and then I attached it like that and then went to put the wall up on the base, and it wouldn't fit. But it doesn't really matter. So there's a slight angle to the top there now, not really important. And I had to do a whole bunch of extra sawing with a handsaw, just as a little lesson in checking things. But it's kind of sprinkling, and I'm starving and ready for a cup of tea, so I'm going to leave it there for now. I've been working on the duck coop some more today. There goes some ducks now. But it was raining this morning, but it warmed up quite a bit, and then the rain stopped, so I came out and did some work on this. I'm pretty much working in the slush here. We had all that snow and it's melting, but it's not hardly going anywhere. This one board here that's just tacked in place with one nail, this is going to be the smaller door on one end to let the ducks in and out regularly. I'll put a hinge on here where it's cut. It's just set there now, and that one it'll open from the bottom, so it's kind of a ramp and a door at the same time. The big vent on there on the front. And this end will be the big door on there for cleaning it out. And so it's looking pretty good. I really should have been inside working on a custom ordered Bowie knife that I'm way behind on, but I'll feel a lot better once I get this coop done. Now is where the junk pile really starts to shine. I've been calling this the junk pile duck coop all along here, but and I've been managing to just barely get things together with the materials too. I've got all the walls that I'm going to do with these spruce boards are finished, and I used the last board that I had doing these walls, so I had just enough. And for my doors, I went looking in my plywood pile. I got this plywood here that's just perfect for this door for the nest boxes. This end here for this big door, I've got this really nasty piece of plywood here. It was the closest thing that was close to that size and shape, but there was it's all busted up, you know. It's from something that was torn apart, but there was one decent edge on the bottom, so I tacked a couple of nails onto the bottom of here to set this plywood on. And I'm not going to be able to do it with the camera in my hand probably, but setting that on there like that, it's just big enough that I can set that on there and then trace around the inside and this edge to cut it to shape, and just enough there to trim off all these nasty broken edges. And my actual very favorite part of this whole thing, as far as the junk pile stuff goes, is the roof, which I am going to make out of these things here, which is my most treasured dump find ever. Best stuff I've ever found. These are huge signs. They're like the signs that must have been around the inside of a ball field or something years ago. And the things are aluminum. And you can see there was a whole bunch of them there. About 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe a little less than 1/8 of an inch. I don't know what possessed anyone to throw these things away, but I took them home. And these are just perfectly sized. They're just long enough. The coop is 8 feet long, and these are like 8'6", so just enough for a little overhang on the end, and 2 of them will cover the roof. I'll probably put the words and stuff on the inside, but what is this? Renegade Knights Firefighter Motorcycle Club. Pretty neat. So, pretty glad I found those and dragged them home. Some other plywood in there buried in the snow. So, this thing will be done tomorrow. Here's one more of these old signs I wanted to show just because I thought it was kind of neat. Came across it while I was digging through them. Laporte and Sons Plumbing with Mario on there. Somehow I don't think that was completely licensed or anything. But guess they weren't worried about it. Don't know if it ever caused a problem for them, but pretty neat. I almost hate to put it on a duck coop, but that'll probably preserve it as well as anything, having that, you know, with the written on side of the sign on the inside.